Okay, I'd like to do a quick review of some of the books that I picked up this week. The first one being Black Lightning, #2 by Tony Isabella. This is great. This is the second issue of a 6-issue miniseries by the man who created Black Lightning. One thing you should know, I think I mentioned it last time, was that this is a different incarnation of the character than the one that's going to be appearing in the CW show. Although I think it sort of it gives you a little different history of Black Lightning and his main villain or archenemy, although he probably doesn't know it yet, is Tobias Whale. We learn in this issue that a number of people have used the name Tobias Whale, and those are probably the characters that were shown in other series. We meet some of the kids that are in Jeff's first class in the morning. They're working on a play for Christmas. So we get to hear some of the narration from that original radio play, underscoring the violence that we see portrayed in the book itself. Black Lightning is still being chased by the police, who believe he killed some of the street gang members that in the first issue. And unfortunately, there's some more deaths in this one, but it's well done. I'm looking forward to see where this leads, and hopefully it'll lead into either more miniseries or an ongoing title written by Tony. Well recommended. Second one is the first issue of the Mighty Crusaders. Back in the 60s, Mighty Crusaders came back after I remember the original, a lot of the original MLJ characters, the Fly, Jaguar, the Comet, the Web, Black Hood, and a number of other ones that Archie published back then. Initially, they were all serious characters. And then, of course, with the 60s and Batman, they came back as, I guess we'll call high camp heroes. In fact, there was actually a paperback collection, and I think that was the title, was High Camp Heroes, where it was closer to what you saw in the Batman TV show, a little outlandish and the kind of campy dialogue that certainly didn't age well. The new Mighty Crusaders work for an organization called MLJ, which I thought was kind of amusing if you're an old Archie fan. They consist of both new characters and older original characters. You got the Shield, you got the Jaguar, you got the character called Firefly, who is the daughter of two original characters. I'm guessing the original Fly Girl and another character. You got the Web, the Comet. This incarnation of Jaguar is very different from the one that we knew back in the 60s. And one of the things I like about it is, as the story goes on, they sort of fill you in on the history of some of these characters, and I'm hoping that we learn more about what originally happened. I'd say the Jaguar is completely different from the original, so I'm wondering how that ties in. Darkling, I'm not familiar with at all. Maybe she's quite different. But anyways, it's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And of course, you have like nefarious. This is you have these are the good guys who always have to have bad guys. Has a nice sense of humor. still snappy patter between the characters when they're fighting the monster in the beginning. So it starts out with action, then it goes back, and as I say, fills you in a little bit on the history of the characters. My only disappointment is that it does not mention the original writers, artists, and creators on these characters. I think that's a contractual thing. Where my understanding was that the publisher at the time, back in the old Archie, the original Archie days, was that he, Goldblum, that he pretty much wanted credit for everything. It's unfortunate. I think this is something that should be addressed. It's not fair to those original creators, and especially in this day and age, where you're seeing people like Bob Kane, Bill Finger, and so many Marvel and DC writers getting credit on big budget films and in the comics themselves. So let's get it right, Archie. Let's show some respect for the people who created these long-time characters. Speaking of things which leave a bad taste in your mouth, first issue and the last for me, The Consultant. Wow. Now, I don't mind gritty superhero stuff. I mean, Garth Ennis, Morrison, Bendis. A lot of them have done characters that really weren't likable. But usually there was sort of kind of like a wink, like, oh, we're overdoing it. These guys are over the top. This is unpleasant to be unpleasant. I have to admit, I was probably only about maybe 10. I read about half the book, and it was so unpleasant, and the characters so unlikable and nasty. I don't know. You threaten little girls, and you know what? That's it for me, man. I flipped to the end, and it looks like maybe someone is, is having second thoughts about it, but it's too little, too late. I'm not familiar with Jason Sturr, so I'm going to go out of my way to skip anything written by him if this is any indication of what he does. So, as I say, I'm not familiar with the Action Lab, so I don't want to, downgrade their whole list of comics, some of which might be really good. But I cannot recommend this. In fact, I recommend that you stay away from it. It's distasteful and unpleasant, and this is definitely on my toss file. Anyways, thanks for listening in. I appreciate it, and take care.